Hello there, I hope you are staying safe and you're keeping healthy. So I asked over on Instagram, Twitter, and the YouTube community tab, what questions do you have? It's a new year. I'm going to answer a new batch of questions. One of my favorite parts about doing these Q&A videos is it just allows me to connect directly with some of you for some things that you guys have been wondering or asking, or maybe it's a question that's already been asked in a past Q&A video, but maybe there's a new answer to it because things change. That's life.
When are you coming back to LA?
When am I coming back to Los Angeles? That will depend on work. That will depend on... Still love the city though. I'll come back to LA when the time is right. Essentially, it comes down to public and health safety. Comes back to work. If there's work there to be done, then I'll be there for that work.
When are ya coming to NYC?
When am I coming to NYC, New York City? Soon. I mean, that's sort of the plan, but also same answer as the Los Angeles one. When it's right, when the time is right to do that. And yes, I have expressed interest in wanting to move to New York City. It makes sense for me as a person who can't drive and is blind to be in a city where things are walking distance from one another. And also, I just love the city. I love the sounds. I love it. Honestly, I can't sleep in suburbs when I go to visit family or friends who don't live in a city. If there's no traffic ambience, I have a hard time falling asleep. Even to the point where when I do stay in those kinds of places, I will play those long videos on YouTube that's just like ambient city window open sounds. Makes me feel at home.
What are you most excited for this year?
What am I most excited for this year? I'm optimistic. I'm hoping that things are going to get better to some degree. I'm hoping for the best health and safety for all of you, as well as myself. And I'm looking forward to hopping on an airplane at some point. I know, like, talking about travel is a little taboo right now, but I'm hoping I can hop on a plane at some point and I can go somewhere. I can meet new people and we can take precautions and have as safe of a trip as possible when things are better to do so. But that's what I'm looking forward to this year. I'm hoping we can do another travel video.
Favorite food from a place you traveled to?
I like this one. I like food. I'm gonna say, just because it's sort of recent in my head, like every place has delicious food, but it's recent even though it was only it was a year ago. When I went to Turkey, Turkish delights, you know, having these desserts, they're great. Fantastic things to snack on. Probably shouldn't eat too many. They were delicious. Just all the food in Turkey that I had, it was great.
Do you feel you had to prepare for the pandemic differently?
In some different aspects, sure. Making videos can be a little bit more of a challenge because I have tried coordinating to work with some folks, even during pandemic, to make some videos, but things fall through. You know, it's been a little difficult, so I've been trying to find workflows that work best for me and as efficiently as possible. From setting up lighting, to the camera, to monitoring the camera, to scripting or writing and editing, sometimes that's all on me. Definitely some challenges with the work that I do. And my goal this year is to produce twice as many videos than I did last year, which is essentially accounting for one video a week, almost. It's 48 videos. If I can top that, hey, even greater. But I produced 24 videos despite everything going on, and I'm quite proud of that because a lot of those videos were just things that I made. And I was in the middle of moving. We were in a public health crisis. We still are. It was a very eventful year, not the most positive eventful, but to produce as many videos as I did last year, I'm quite proud of that. And I want to get to 48. And this year started off a little rocky for me because I was just coming back from holiday vacation, and then we had current events take place in the United States that affected me. I'm doing better. We're doing slightly better. And I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful for my country. I'm hopeful for what's to come. What was the question again? Oh, did I have to prepare differently? Yeah, but yeah, a little bit. As someone who is kind of breaking into the film industry, have already had some jobs in the film industry. The film industry looks different now, and it's less work that's coming in the inbound. So I've been doing more speaking and consulting, and that's been virtual. So I came back to the East Coast in case, family, friends get sick, or if I get sick. And then on the whole other spectrum, which I won't get too much into, I have a long distance relationship right now, and we were together for several months, but due to different citizenships and all that, she is out of the country right now, and that's tough and something else to have to work with and deal with. Many factors that I did have to sort of prepare for, and you really just can't prepare for, and ongoingly. On a lighter note, next question.
Any tech products you're excited for?
Yes. In fact, I've already got my hands on it. So I know there's always upcoming tech and all that, but one of the most anticipated things I was excited for was Apple Silicon processors in their Mac line. And they've released the MacBook Air, MacBook Pro, and the Mac Mini. I've got my hands on the Mac Mini. I upgraded that guy to 16 gigs of unified RAM. I'm excited to edit this video on that Mac Mini. In fact, future editing James, how did that edit go? I know you're gonna have to basically add this in the last part of your edit. Sorry. How did that edit go, James? The edit is actually going rather well. Final Cut is responding beautifully with this edit, and yeah, I really no complaints. The only thing, of course, is editing with 10% of vision, and that vision can decrease the more my eyes get fatigued. So yeah, that's all. That's what I'm powering through right now. Back to your featured presentation. I'm not a fortune teller, so I don't know what he said. Maybe you did. As I do cover some tech-related things, especially from my perspective as someone who is legally blind, let me know what questions you have about my thoughts on the Mac Mini. I'm going to be spending some time with it these next few weeks, and then I will be doing a full-on video on my experience with that M1 Mac Mini, and hopefully we'll have a good idea of the new direction for the Macs, because I'm actually very hopeful for it, but who knows? This may have been a flop. We'll see. Maybe. I'll hear. You'll see. Maybe you won't see. I don't know. I don't want to assume your vision.
What advice do you have for blind people who are living independently for the first time?
Try to be somewhere that is, one, affordable within your budget, but two, do as much prep and research into what services are available, and don't be afraid to take different modes of transportation. I know it can suck to not be able to drive. I've been there. I've dealt with that heartache. After having some recovered vision, I lost that vision and went back to legal blindness right before I was about to do driver's ed. And to be 15 and not be able to take driver's ed when all my classmates were, it was hard. It was a little bit of heartbreak, but I guess I had some time before going into adulthood to sort of process that and realize that. But yeah, try to be in a place that is fairly populated. Doesn't have to be a full-on city, metro, area, but as long as there's public transit available, you can get to where you need to go, or you have the people that you trust and loved ones who can help support whatever it is or wherever you need to get to. That's important. Surround yourself with good people, and I know it's hard to meet people right now in a pandemic. That's a whole other thing, but again, just know your resources. That's sort of the best advice I can give. I went to Los Angeles. I went somewhere very far away, but I learned how to take the train and the metro and the buses before I permanently moved there for several years. So that was an initiative I took. Last question, which is a little bit more of a request, and I want to talk about this.
Please read my DM.
I get messages nearly every day, both in my email inbox and in my social media. And I get that social media platforms offer a messaging feature, but I only have so many hours in the day, and I only have so much energy to be doing YouTube, right? Part-time. This isn't I'm not living off of ad revenue or even brand sponsorships. I'm doing this part-time, and then I'm also doing gigs that I've kind of gotten through networking or through people discovering the YouTube channel who then hire me, and we work on projects, whether it's consulting or speaking or work for hire film related projects. I cannot check my DMs, and that is more of a choice. Frankly, I don't read DMs. My bio specifically says for business inquiries only, because I actually have a team. I have a management that checks those for me. They represent more than just more than me. They represent other creators, other talent, And so they need to be fishing through all these different DMs for business inquiries, actual serious business inquiries that we want to follow up with and pursue. They're doing it for multiple creators, not just myself. I've gotten some bizarre DMs, I've gotten some very heartfelt DMs, even just viewers who are reaching out to just send their appreciations. I would best see that in comments and tweets. I spoke with one of my representatives. His name's Josh, and he is active on social media. He's the creator coach. So when he's not managing channels and creators like myself, he's also working with creators who are experiencing burnout or need coaching, just life and time management and all that. This is a little bit of that conversation that we had.
So when somebody's messaging you, really anybody, there's a couple different levels here to take into account. The first is, what kind of message are they sending? Is it just a, hey, I'm a fan of yours, or hey, I need some help, or hey, I get a lot of, hey, do you want to collab? There is a really difficult balance in wanting to be engaging with your audience and not hurting someone's feelings, but also knowing what information you should give out and not. Now, different platforms are public, right? So people can send you messages. What I would say, and the advice that I would give to fans, if you send a note, an email or a voice memo or anything to somebody that you're watching, you should know a few things. One is, and the biggest is, you don't know what's going on in their life or how busy they are. The second, if they don't respond, don't be offended. And that is the biggest one. We only see what you put out, James, as a creator. We only see what you do in a highly curated way. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So if you do reach out to somebody that you're a fan of, or you reach out to somebody that you want to work with, send an email or send a message, and then sort of, back off. I haven't heard many success stories when a fan or a creator to another creator continues to email again and again, and that's where we start to get into the security issues. But I think the biggest thing to know is that try once, but if you keep trying, it's not going to help your case.
Yeah, I can state, even from my own experience, I've been that creator who sent a cold email to someone before, right? And it's had success sometimes. I mean, did a really cool video with my friends Colin and Samir. I met them over a cold email. I know that, they openly shared their location. They're like, hey, we're in downtown Los Angeles. I was right in downtown Los Angeles at the time. So I'm like, hey guys, this is what I do. If you guys are interested in doing something together, if what I make is of value to the kinds of content, showing different kinds of stories on your channel, I'd love to, have you guys help tell my story a little bit in a way that's different from me telling it. And then I've sent things to other creators who have either had no response or I just built rapport with, right? And when you build that rapport and that engagement, it can lead to something, but it may not. And at the same time, it's the advice that I personally can kind of just give is you can't just not engage or interact with a creator or someone's content, just be a follower and then just send that cold message out of nowhere. Very unlikely to succeed with that. You need to kind of be a part of community, right? In a sense. Now, obviously there's gotten involved with people who at one point I just assumed were a viewer, and then I saw they were making really cool stuff and I liked what they were making. So eventually, as time kind of went on and I saw they're really trying to do something with it, whatever little bit I could offer them, come along to this event with me, or hey, I got this video topic in the works and I feel like you would be relevant to be contribute to this if you want to. That's my advice. It's just you have to sort of engage. You can't just sort of come at, because then it looks like you're kind of just wanting to use someone for access to their what they've been building, right? And I don't even have the largest audience in the world. What I've done is create some cool things that have landed me some really cool opportunities and meet some really cool people. I'm a busy person. I cannot read. I can't even open every email with my time and my schedule right now, because it just doesn't happen. I've like hundreds of unopened emails over the last few months. So ultimately, if I'm not reading your DM, if I'm not reading your email, do not take it personally. If I'm not responding, do not take it personally. For someone who is a legally blind creator, I only have so much visual stamina throughout the day, and I need to conserve it for creating content, for working on paid gigs, so I can continue to do this and continue to make this content that is reaching as many people as possible. And as much as I appreciate people who feel they can reach out to me, and they want to reach out to me because we've been in similar situations, or you're a parent with a newborn who has similar eye conditions, or anything along those lines, I'm not a professional, and I cannot give you, medical advice, or I'm not qualified to do that. And I think this is kind of a hard conversation to have, because it's like, I absolutely love that people can connect with the content. Like, that's the goal. I want people to learn from mistakes I've had, or the adults in my life had, who didn't help get me as accommodated as a teenager or as a kid, and I had to figure out a lot of stuff in my adulthood, right? With how to use a white cane, how to read basic Braille, how to accommodate myself. I went through a journey of finding that independence and doing what works best for me. So I appreciate anyone who can connect with the content. Again, I try to dedicate some time in my week to reply to tweets and reply to comments. The bottom line is, if I don't respond, do not take it personally. And if it's not something that you can share with me in a public tweet or a comment on YouTube or Instagram, it's maybe something I shouldn't hear. It's maybe something I shouldn't know, and I might not be the right person to assist or facilitate that. If you are an aspiring creator, or you just want to know a little bit more about that conversation that I had with Josh, the creator coach, that full-length conversation is going to be available to listen to for members of the channel. I want to circle back to one of the questions that I got, which is favorite food from a place that you've traveled. Let me know. I know traveling is, again, not really realistic right now in our current state of the world, but we can go back and we can think about a place that you've traveled. It could have been just right out of town. It could have just been in a different county, a different state, in a different province, different country. Let me know. I'd love to hear from you on some foods I need to try and where it was from. So again, for me, Turkish Delights. I'm sure you can get it from anywhere outside of Turkey as well. Great desserts and carbs. I hope that you could see something different today, and I will hear you next time. Bye.